Jesus, this game gives me a headache. Hey peeps, today we're going to be shaking down one of the most notorious horror games of all time. We all know our FNAFs, our Bendies, our Poppy's Playtimes, yada yada yada. This is the game that didn't start at all but was part of the trendy YouTube games trend, and it was quite the sight to watch unfold. Hello Neighbor's full release was backed by huge betas and demos that were almost all different from each other and progressed the game's scale even higher with each release. For me, back then, I was a kid watching a Lego set of this game slowly become a Millennium Falcon, but the full release of this game was more like an unfinished Duplo set. Hello Neighbor can be best described as a sandbox horror escape room puzzle game, and to this day, I don't think the concept works in practice, and this is part because of Hello Neighbor's fault, and part because the genres colliding. Sandbox and horror is a combo that clashes very harshly, which is why the best horror games out there are linear story-focused games. Why should I be scared that I'm being chased when I can just stack a bunch of boxes and fly? Hello Neighbor was broken, jank, lacks polish, and purpose. You went into a spiraling BS house to do mini objectives to get keys to go in a door like 3 times, but the puzzles will be cryptic bullshit, and on top of that, it's kinda hard to complete a puzzle when you're constantly being hornswoggled. But even then, when you make it to the late game of Hello Neighbor, the neighbor becomes so irrelevant because you can just become Omni-Man and zoom across the entire house to the point the AI neighbor can't keep up with you. When YouTubers get to this stage of the game, it becomes a bouncy castle, not a horror game. There was no weight to anything in the game, and the story felt there, but it was too scattered and given in too short of increments to understand anything. There isn't a dialogue being communicated by Hello Neighbor to the player. Is this a PSA for not kidnapping kids? Nobody knew what the fuck was happening. You're a kid that got kidnapped, grew up, moved near your kidnapper's home, get curious, fuck around and find out, shadow demons, giant dream world. This was just all too much to comprehend with this game's short runtime and fast pacing. MatPat dissected things good enough, and then these fuck ass devs tried to bait him into the second game so we can understand what's happening. The game was at its best when it was in the betas. There was little story and it was up to interpretation with really interesting visuals and hidden Easter eggs for the player to seek out if they wanted more information of what was going on. The concept was so simple too. You just played indoor Subway Surfers with some mini Buzz Lightyear saucers looking ass guy, all to find out the mystery of what was he hiding in the basement to make him so protective of it. And I was hoping, just maybe hoping, we can get this feeling back in the next incarnation of this game. Okay, so it wasn't you. What did this improve upon? For one, I'll say things are more grounded now. It definitely feels more like an escape room with puzzles, and the story is there. You're a reporter trying to figure out the reason behind these missing kids, so you double check the police's work to find clues yourself by doing some good old-fashioned trespassing. I was a fan of this concept, although the concept doesn't make any sense from the second you boot up the game. Why does it start out with you walking outside a barn to getting spanked by the neighbor for you to wake up in a cold sweat? There's no correlation there at all. This is a repeating trend in the game. You find something, then get knocked the fuck out, then wake back up like you just had a weekend at Bernie's. Can you guess how this game ends? Oh, he's mad. Come on. Let's go. Let's go, Key. Come on. He's fried. Come on. Go. Leave. Leave. No. He had you locked up for like 5 years. Why are you hugging him? Oh my... What the fuck? This game just can't be real. The story consists of you going to different houses in a set order to find out what their attendants' dark secrets is. I'm not lying when I say Despicable Me 2 does everything in this game better. So, because there's multiple houses in the game tries to be open world, but it's really not. You play on one map that's fully explorable, but there's only 6 points of interest you can only explore once you finish the house prior to the one you want to go. Everything else are just blank buildings you can kind of see in. The 6 points of interest are your home, blue house, bakery, yellow house, mansion, museum. None of these locations interact with each other in any meaningful ways besides taking a key from one to other. Cool. The most interesting I've seen this game do with its landscape is this story segment when you see a paper airplane thrown at you that says help, and then you notice a trail of them which leads to this huge pile of paper airplanes. This was my favorite part of the game because when Hello Neighbor decides it wants to be a good game, it uses its wacky visuals to convey a story that can seem out of proportions but allow the player to interpret it by scaling it down into something that makes sense. But it always leads to something that's not sensible or worth making sense out of. This is reflected in the game's main thing, the puzzles too. Even though the game is more grounded, I still needed a guide for a bunch of these puzzles because it becomes overwhelming so quickly. And the think tank got very agitated at this game fast, to the point that I needed to watch someone else beat it because I got bored. This was my reaction to someone else beating this lame ass game, and that's a bigger plot twist than anything Neighbor 2 is thrown at me. And it's not even just the whole thinking part that was making me angry, it's the fact that sitting down trying to complete these tasks are not fun in the slightest when you have a guy that is constantly randomly checking every crevice to snatch you, and then take all your progress away. The stealth in this game isn't good. You're constantly running past your chasers, hoping to shake them off or hide in the closet just so you can go back to solving this convoluted mess. And it works here, but not here, because it's not scary anymore. It's just jarring sometimes. Oh my gosh, a white woman! Security Breach had this exact same problem, and guess what genre it pretty much was following? Horror sandbox. And the horror falls flat because of the sandbox. I'm not intimidated by you, I'm annoyed. I'm spending too much time walking across this jumbo-sized room piecing together brain teasers just for you to bother me. I'm more focused on completing the puzzles than being snatched. For this puzzle, I simply needed to dial the clock to 10:35. Such a simple task, right? But it wasn't simple because every time I touched this clock, this lady would get mad at me and kick me out. So I had to keep getting kicked out, walk back up, get a little bit of progress in, get kicked out again, then do it all over again. The horror of this game suffers from being a sandbox game. I would rather Hello Neighbor 2 be a puzzle game only than a horror chaser, but then it would lack any substance. I want Hello Neighbor 2 to only be a horror game, but how scary can you make this face when you have this jank movement in a cartoon environment? Nothing about this franchise works. I am deeply sorry for shattering the developers' work on this game like this, because I feel this craftsmanship and conceptualization brought into this game should be repurposed for something else. The Hello Neighbor franchise is officially a flop after this game, and these dumbasses thought it was gonna bang so hard that they are already pushing major content pack DLCs for the game day one?
Fuck no, baby!
Unacceptable. I take back what I said about being sorry. These developers are sorry. As a $40 game with only about 2 hours worth of content, this is a fucking joke. Why are we paying $36 more for more mid? Which is why I'm playing it off Game Pass, and if it wasn't on Game Pass, I would have yarg. In conclusion, avoid Hello Neighbor as a whole now. It's over. Go play Piggy on Roblox or something. I don't care. I'm trying to finish this Lego Millennium Falcon. And damn it!
Probably gonna hit that don't save changes again. Used to write a song a day. It's just that lately my perfection's in the way of me, and I can't make no changes to save me. Wish I could write more and care less. Wish I could write more and care less. Write more and care less and care less.